Want to see what a realistic working pantry and stockpile looks like? Well, I'm going to show you all of this today. And this. Everything up here. And down here too. So if you're curious to see what a realistic stockpile and working pantry looks like for a family of 6, well then come along with me, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and I'm gonna show you every single space in our home where I have built a stockpile for our family of 6. I'm Kristen here at Joyfully Thriving, and I do all of this on a budget. So along the way, I'm gonna share with you some of my tips and tricks so that you can start doing this too. All right, let's get started. First place we're going to start is in my kitchen with these little cupboards here because these are the things that I use every day on a daily basis. All right, we're going to start with this Lazy Susan here, and this is where I keep all sorts of my baking goods. So I have my oils here, syrup, vinegar, vanilla, and then I have jars full of different things. So this is some Kodiak pancake mix. I make the kids from scratch, but I've been doing that lately. Some homemade granola, crackers so the kids can get into things easily. I started using these glass jars a couple years ago, and I really love them because it keeps things organized. I can see very easily what's in them. I will leave a link to these jars, and anything I mention, just check the description below and you'll be able to see links to anything I mention. Then we have some oats here. I obviously need to restock my old-fashioned, and then quick oats. These are the things I use on a regular basis. And then on the shelf below, we'll just go back the other way, I've got pasta. My kids love pasta. These are the things I am using regularly. I restock with things from my stockpile, and I'll show you that in a minute. So we have our pasta, rice with some more rice back there in the bag behind that. Got some quinoa, and then some packaged snacks. We have not been eating these very regularly. These are actually leftover from summer travels. So we're just kind of working through those, and I don't think I will be restocking. I do have 2 different sizes of jars, a medium and a large gallon size, and I've just slowly built those over time, but I absolutely love these jars. Popcorn. We had a lot more popcorn before 2 of my kids got in their braces and expanders, but we still love popcorn. Hot chocolate for those cold Saturday winter mornings up north. Some Carnation instant breakfast, and there we go. That's the first Lazy Susan. Then, if we just stand up here, we're gonna go up to the top, and this is another Lazy Susan back here. It's a 3-layer shelf. I'm gonna grab a chair and come on over so I can show you everything a lot closer. We've got our vegetable oil shortening here. I really just use that for pie crust. Some vanilla extract. I am actually trying to make my own for the first time. I started that a couple months ago, so we're gonna see how that turns out, but it's looking great. Super excited to use that. Sea salt, some measuring cups I use regularly for liquids, and then some of my seasoning. So I have taco seasoning, seasoned salt we use a lot. Lemon pepper, you can see what we do and don't use a lot. Some of these I will not replace when they are gone. My husband has bought some of these to try, and then they tend to sit here. Onion powder. And then in this basket, I keep more of our mixes here, some smaller packages. So taco seasoning, using up those and starting to use a larger one. Au jus, ranch, gravy, just some other packets here. This basket just keeps things nice and organized. And then when they're on the Lazy Susan, they don't fall over. I know where they are. And peanut butter on that shelf. And now going up to this, we have some of our chocolate. I love storing things in glass jars. It just looks so pretty. And here's a tip for you. Did you know that mayo lids and peanut butter lids fit perfectly on canning jars? I save them all the time because they work so great. And I love having those for one-piece lids when I'm just storing things in the pantry. So start saving those. They really do work. Ranch, Nutella, baking cocoa. These are large spices I buy at a local bulk food store here, so I have some Italian seasoning and chili powder there. Pepper, dried milk for when I make some of my bread recipes. Cornstarch, baking powder with an extra one behind it. I buy the 2-pack at Sam's. Baking soda, salt, and we're back there. And then let's go to the top shelf. This is really more baking things here. These are my muffin tin liners. Did you know that muffin tin liners fit perfectly in a wide mouth quart jar? I absolutely love storing them this way. They stack nicely, and then I can easily see at a glance what I have. They're not tipping over. Super handy to do that. I have some kosher salt for canning, and then this is some oat flour I'd used in the recipe. I just ground it up myself. And this is what I meant about peanut butter lids right here. This is a peanut butter lid, and again, it fits perfectly on the jar. Nothing's gonna spill. This works on the pint and the quart regular mouth lids. This one is some more instant powdered milk right here. And then I have a basket with all our sprinkles for baking. Some flax I use, or excuse me, this is some bran. I really should label these better, but this is bran that I use for some blueberry muffins that we love. And then I have tea. I don't drink tea, but that's for recipes and company. And then a narrow jar for my muffin, or for my little muffin cups there. So those are that's my Lazy Susan right there. And then right next door, I have this narrow cupboard, and it just has a couple more things that we use regularly. I have my nuts back here, some cashews and almonds, pistachios. I do keep extra almonds in the freezer just so those don't go bad. M&Ms for baking. Back there I have more pistachios, and I have more cashews. I think that's a package of granola someone gave us. Need to eat that up. And then we have our chip shelf right here, chips and rice cakes and some pretzels. And that top shelf is my chocolate stash where I hide things. Have you ever tried these Brookside pomegranate? Oh my goodness, so good. Absolutely love those. And there are some M&Ms in the back I had gotten on deals, some honey, just different little chocolate things that we are not accessing regularly, but that are there. So that's that little shelf in the corner of my kitchen. And then we walk across the kitchen, and this is my kitchen pantry. It's just a narrow little shelf. It is deeper than you think, and I can fit a lot of things, as you'll see with my canned goods here. But I'm just gonna show you everything I keep here, and we'll talk about what it is so you get some ideas of things you might wanna store too. As with all these things, make sure you are storing the things your family uses on a regular basis. That's how you build a stockpile your family will use. Top shelf is chips right up there, and some fried pork rinds my husband is eating. On this shelf, this is more my baking shelf. So I have some cake mixes that I actually use to make bundt cakes. We don't make cakes from a cake mix very often, but I do have a couple recipes I like. And then same thing with the pudding, more for using in recipes. I have some sweetened condensed milk, almond extract, corn syrup to make caramel corn. Again, I don't use this a ton, but these are things I do like to keep on hand. Some olives and applesauce for school lunches. One last pudding cup back there. And I think that's a chocolate gift that I'm giving away to one of the teachers that got put back in there. Next shelf, we have mac and cheese, which the kids like for a quick lunch on the weekends sometimes. I have started buying pasta sauce again. I do have a very easy recipe and can and do make it, but they have some no sugar brands, and I've gotten some really good deals lately for 99 cents a can, $1.25, which with the price of tomato paste and tomato sauce, it's almost the same as baking it myself. So I bought some of that. I have diced tomatoes. Petite ones are my favorite, and so I keep those for chilies and soups. Tomato paste back there. Olives, my kids absolutely love black olives, so do I. And did you know that black olives have a super long expiration date? Look at these. These are 3 years out, and I think I actually bought this a year ago. So if you like black olives, they're very shelf stable. It's a great thing to have in your pantry. I have quinoa and chia seeds, just some assorted things. A little bit of canned chicken I've stockpiled, and I've been using those in chicken salads for me for lunch. And then some capers, first time I've ever bought those to try in a new recipe. And then here is my fullest shelf of canned goods. I like this because, as you can see, I can get 2, 4, 6, 7 cans across, and they go 10 back. For those bigger cans, I can get 6 back with the narrower ones. So I have cream of chicken soup. We use that specifically for a potato casserole and poppy seed chicken my kids love. Again, I will try to leave links to all these recipes and things I'm mentioning for you as well. Canned corn and canned green beans, those are the 2 vegetables our family likes, and thankfully they go on sale around the Thanksgiving holidays, Christmas holidays, so I always try to stock up then and buy enough to last us for a year or 2. Be sure you are buying the canned vegetables your family will eat. Nothing worse than spending money on something, even if it's a good deal, to not use it. Next row is beans. I have a lot of garbanzo beans and I'm running low on black beans and pinto beans. So I like having them in the canned form just because they're quick and easy for me to use. The rest of my family doesn't love them as much yet as I do, so I'm pretty much the only one who eats those. Yes, I know I can make them on my own and can them, just haven't tried that yet. Next, we have canned refried beans and enchilada sauce. I use 1 can of the beans and 1 of the enchilada sauce every time I am making enchilada casserole, a family favorite recipe. That's why they're stacked like that, so I can easily see I have enough to make 5 batches. We eat it about once a month, so I make sure I always have that on our shelves. Canned peaches, that's really the only canned fruit my family really enjoys. The rest we do fresh or frozen. So I do keep canned peaches on stock. And then canned pumpkin. Normally this is a lot fuller, but this year, as you'll see in a minute, I did make my own and freeze it again. We love to eat pumpkin bread year round. I bake with it a lot. So yes, I am well stocked up on the pumpkin. And then we have our baking shelf here. So right now I have 30 pounds of flour. I try to always keep that full of flour. And then I have sugar. I actually have 25 pounds of sugar there, as well as powdered sugar. Now I bake a lot. You're gonna see that when you see that I have more flour and sugar downstairs. I bake bread, our homemade bread. We go through about 2 loaves a week, and then I'm baking cookies and treats and for our family and friends. I just do a lot of baking. So because I do, I stock up on baking supplies. Sugar lasts pretty much indefinitely. It might harden slightly, so you really can store this a long time. And yes, I store it in the packages. The powdered sugar, I do not buy a ton of. That I have on hand right now because I'm getting ready to make Buckeyes for Christmas season, so I needed to buy that. Flour, if you are going to use it within a year, you certainly can freeze it. You could for a couple days to make sure bugs are gone and then store it in different containers. But I am going through it so regularly and so quickly that I don't worry again about transferring it to any other containers. I just store it here. I have 2 little containers of more baking goods. Golf wax is for Buckeyes. And then I have some chocolates in here. I started using these bins just because it stacks things and it keeps my marshmallows from getting smushed, that we use for baking and s'mores in the summer. And then that's a bag of almond flour. We have friends who are gluten-free, so I bought that when I found a good deal there. And then on the floor, I keep some of our bins here. So I have some instant lemonade. We don't drink that a ton. That's actually, we really should use that up. I have a little bit of protein powder there. I have some peanut butter powder I mix in with overnight oats and in actually to some Greek yogurt for extra protein. And then another protein powder for my overnight oats. And then I have some different things in these tins and baskets. So this front tin here is just all bags of chocolate chips, mini chocolate chips, butterscotch, peanut, anything I am using in regular bags right here. This back bucket, now someone had asked before what Kilwins is. Kilwins is a local ice cream shop that our friends actually run, but handy tip, they are always going through, these are their ice cream buckets. So they are food safe, about a 3-gallon size. They are getting rid of these constantly. So if you have a local ice cream shop, it might be worth checking out to see if you can get some free bins because they're food safe, because they were storing ice cream. They seal really well. I absolutely love storing in these. These are my large bags of chocolate chips. I normally try to keep 3 in here all at a time. I buy these at Sam's. It's the best price. I obviously need to restock because I have 1.5 in here. So I need to stock up more on those. They are on instant saving in December of 2024. If you're watching this, so you might want to grab some too. Works out to $2 a bag, which is a fabulous deal. I take the chocolate chips from this bag and then put them in a canning jar in the fridge, and that's how I use them when I'm baking. And then in the back, we have some extra sauces and ketchups from restaurants. Does anyone else seem to collect those the way our family does? We don't even eat out a ton, but they just multiply. And then this back one is oatmeal. Right now, this is all quick oats because I bought a 10-pound container here. Some are stored here, some are stored in smaller gallon bags. I put them in the plastic just to keep them away from anything, and they're sealed up nice and tight. So that's what's right there. I'll go ahead and push all my other bins back in here. And then right next door to this little kitchen pantry is what I use now as some extra pantry too. Originally this was storage for our kids' toys, but I've kind of taken over it with food just to have a little bit more room for different things. You can see my kids, we have 4 kids, 10 and under. These are where there's Play-Doh and we have some paints behind it, different things. But the lesson really is you can store your food in a wide variety of places. It doesn't have to intentionally be designed as a kitchen pantry. You can make it work for you in your food storage. So I have a wide variety of things. I have a ton of boxed pasta here. My kids and I, we love pasta. We eat it at least once a week. I just counted and I think I have, oh, now I have to remember. I think I have 28 boxes of pasta right here. So again, if we're eating it once a week, that lasts me for about 6 months. Pasta has a very long shelf life. We love the penne is the type we tend to eat the most, but if I find good deals, I'll buy others. And lately we've really been enjoying spaghetti. Now this half length at Walmart, it's the same price, same ounces as the full length. It's just already divided. And then again, this fits very nicely inside a canning jar for me. So once I open it, I just like to store it that way. A little bit of Oreos, and then I have tortillas that we're using, and this is another Kilwins bin, and this is all chocolate, more chocolate chips, chocolate for s'mores, some leftover Halloween candy. If I buy chocolate, I just like to keep it in a sealed tin just so it's safe and away from anything else. So that's how I store any extra chocolate on our shelf. And then moving over in the top shelf, we have crackers. Triscuits are my family's favorite cracker right now. My daughter and I especially love them. And I love that the ingredients in Triscuits are so simple. I mean, look at this. It's just wheat, oil, and salt. Great cracker. So I'm happy when my daughter wants to take those to lunch there. So I have crackers. The large boxes fit 1. If I have 2 of the regular size, I can fit 2 stacked in front. It just depends on the box size. But I always keep Triscuits on our shelf. We have 1 box of ice cream cones we're finishing up, some graham cracker sticks and graham crackers. We used to eat those a lot more when our kids were younger. We are not eating them as much. We basically just use them for s'mores, so I'm not storing those as much. I have some specialty crackers back there we had used for entertaining, and then this Fleischmann's back here in the corner. This is a Fleischmann's cornbread, and it is so good. I'm just sharing this because I tried to make my own homemade cornbread for so many years, but it is absolutely amazing. Once I bought this one, it's $1.93 at Walmart. You add your milk and your egg and your butter, but it turns out so good. It really is the best cornbread I've ever eaten. So I try to always keep a box or 2 of this on our shelves here when we're having tacos or company. I have some peanut butter crackers. My son went through a phase where he was really liking these. And of course, once I bought a huge box at Sam's, he decided he doesn't love them as much anymore, but we're still working our way through that. A little bit of crunchy taco shells, and then Ritz crackers for on top of poppy seed chicken, and entertaining and cheese and crackers. I buy this big box at Sam's. It works out to less than $2 a box, which really is the best price you can get. So that's where I store a lot more of our boxed things right here. And again, since it's in our kitchen, it's just really easy to get to it because it's right here next to our regular pantry. So I love having all of those things that I can get to whenever I need them. Okay, let's stick with the food theme here. We're now at our extra freezer, and this is in our laundry room right off the kitchen. On the top is where I store a lot of Chex Mix. We really are not eating much cereal anymore. I have a little bit of Cinnamon and Toast Crunch that my kids have not touched in months, so I will probably be donating that soon. But they do love Chex Mix. We probably make a triple batch, which is 1 box of corn, 1 box of rice, 1 box of wheat. We'll make it once a month, and they kind of do it as their snack when they're watching a show or something, since they can't do popcorn with braces. This is my extra upright freezer. I do put locks on the top. I absolutely love this lock. You just squeeze, it's a baby block, and it comes off so easily. I know that my freezer is not getting left ajar, and that is so helpful. All right, this is my extra freezer. So it's pretty well organized since last time. It does not always look this neat. If you are a regular viewer here, you know I have to organize it a couple times a year because life happens, you're using things, and you just have to stay on top of it as best as you can. But I really believe having an extra freezer is one of the best money-saving tools you can do because you can save yourself so much money. So let's talk about what I keep in my freezer. Butter. Yes, I keep a lot of butter. I actually have a little bit extra in our garage freezer too, so I'll show you that in a minute. But butter, we go through on average, I tracked it for a year, we use about 6 pounds a month. So I try to, when it goes on sale at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter are your 3 times for butter sales, I stock up on enough to last us at least 6 months. Butter freezes great, just pop it in your freezer like this, move it straight to the fridge whenever you're ready to use it. I have never had a problem with my butter going bad. You're going to see a lot of these clear plastic tins with blue lids right now because it's Christmas, and I've been baking Christmas cookies and freezing them until we need them. I have a package of some clearance brats and meat that I got here. Sometimes I prep it differently, but if it's just in a 1 pound package, I leave it there. This is all my pumpkin puree. I put them in 2 cups and I put them in a big basket so I can get to them very easily, although you will see more pumpkin puree down here. We had a lot of pumpkins. I made it in my slow cooker. I do have a video about how I did it. Super easy, tastes so good, and I need one of those bags every time I'm making our pumpkin muffins. Then on this shelf, I'm gonna pull the pumpkin out. This is all of our meat, a lot of our meat that I have here. This one I know is a brisket that we had smoked and we have some left over, so it's already cooked, ready to go when we need it. I like to store our ground beef in 3 ways. I cook some bags and store it in 1 pound segments. It makes for quick, easy dinners with a casserole or tacos, sloppy joes, so I love having cooked ground beef ready. Then I also freeze them in stacks of hamburger patties. You see that's 7. That means there are 7 hamburger patties in a stack. I just put wax paper between them. So anytime we want hamburgers, I just pull out a stack, thaw them, and they're ready to throw on the grill. I have another bag of those right next to it. And then behind it, I have raw hamburger. And again, those are in about 1 pound bags. I just put them that way. No, I do not have a food saver at this point in time. Definitely thinking about it. But that is how I store our ground beef, in those 3 ways. That's the way our family uses it. This is one of the meats we eat the most, so I like to stay stocked up on it. Then, put this bag back. That was our chicken. Chicken, when I get chicken on sale, I go through it and I cut off all the fat and I trim it into smaller pieces, serving size. This is chicken breast, raw, skinless, boneless chicken breast. That's what we eat the most. And I store them in about 2 pound bags. For our family of 6, that's what works now. So each of those I know is about 2 pounds of chicken that I can use whenever I'm ready. We've got some more cookies down here, peanut clusters and chocolate chip shortbread. Love those. And frosted cookies too. Now these bags are different, and this was new this year because we actually bought half a hog at our local school auction, and we have been loving it, going through all of the different kinds of meat, trying different things. So this top bag here is all some breakfast sausage in there. This bottom bag is stored, it's all bacon. I think we have about 12 pounds of bacon left. We have really been loving that. And then this bag here is, well, we have one last of pork burgers. So good. I wish we had more of those because it might be an Indiana thing, but we absolutely love those. But the rest of that is all pork chops, and they are boneless pork chops packaged like that. So I know they're all 4 pork chops in there, around a pound, perfect for when we need dinner here. And then on the bottom, I have a little bit more chicken. The other way I store chicken is I cook it and dice it up into small pieces and store it in bags of about 4 cups to make poppy seed chicken. And like I said, that's one of our family's favorite recipes. So I have 1 bag here, and it looks like I have about 4 more bags there to make poppy seed chicken. And then the rest of this shelf is potatoes. There was a great deal on potatoes a couple weeks ago, $1.99 a bag, so I definitely stocked up on French fries and tater tots. And then I have blueberries here from this summer. They are all in 2-cup bags, sandwich bags with 2 cups, because that's what I would use for a recipe. But we often eat those just frozen as a side with dinner too. So I cook with them, but we also eat those fresh. So that's that shelf. And then on the door here, we just have a couple more things. We have some ground sausage. This is a package of shredded ham there and some pulled pork. I have a little bit of Hillshire Farm beef summer sausage there, or beef smoked sausage to use like on sheet pans. This is some more sausage from our half a hog, just pork sausage there. Some brats, salt and pepper. And this one I'm super excited to try, garlic parmesan. I've been holding on to that just because that sounds really good. Frozen corn to make a crock pot cheesy corn that I love around the holidays. I made it at Thanksgiving and I'll make it at Christmas too. Such an easy side. I always keep frozen corn in the freezer for that. Peppers and onions when I'm making quesadillas. I like having them ready and chopped like that. It's just super handy. A little bit of Chex Mix, some pretzel toffee right there, cheese. This is my extra yeast. I buy it in the large packages from Sam's, and then I put some in the fridge, and whatever's left, I keep in the freezer. Again, this lasts a super long time, perfect for my bread baking. And yes, that's a peanut butter lid on there again. I'm telling you, so handy to store like that. A little bit of pumpkin bread, and then some soups. I like to freeze our soups in these pint jars. This makes a good serving size for my husband or I to eat for lunch. Sometimes I use the traditional lids, but a lot of times I use those mayo lids. So hopefully that little tip helps someone else when they are storing things too. So this is our upright freezer. Again, this is the one in our laundry room. Let me show you the garage one next. So again, I use that same lock. I just put it a different direction. It works either way. You get a 2-pack on Amazon. Really, absolutely love those things. This one is not as organized. This is really kind of a drink fridge that was in our garage. And so on the top, I do take advantage of the freezer space with some popsicles I have there, some frozen juice concentrate, a little bit of butter that I hadn't stacked in. That's the stuff I bought most recently. I move it from our garage fridge into the upright freezer, and then from that freezer, I move it into the fridge when I'm ready to use it. So I'm always using the oldest first and just rotating through. Some more pumpkin. I told you we had a lot of pumpkins this year. We have 2 hams out here. That is just a frozen jug of water that I keep in there for coolers, a little more butter, frozen pizzas. This is kind of what I call our overflow. Those are some frozen potatoes from a fundraiser, fish sticks my husband likes, and butter. So not a ton out here. I probably do need to restock on frozen pizzas. It's just nice to have those as a quick dinner. My boys especially love it when we have those for dinner. So that's what's in this freezer. All right, are you enjoying seeing our kitchen so far and all the things that I use? Everything you just saw was upstairs in our main kitchen or right off in the freezers. Those are the things I use on a regular basis. And then downstairs, this is an unfinished basement space. It's a little bit of a mess. I won't show you all the things, but I will show you all my food storage down here. My goal for our family is to build a 3 to 6 month supply of food that we are regularly using. There are actually some gaps that you will see as we are going through, and I'll mention those, but I've been taking some time to really use what we have and evaluate how I want to restock our stockpile down here. This is something that I have built over time. I have built it as part of our monthly $500 budget. Occasionally I set aside a little bit of extra money to stockpile, but I really build it by stocking up on the sales. And if you want to know more about that, be sure you subscribe and join me, because every Thursday I do share a frugal grocery haul, and I will show you the things I am buying to use that week, as well as what I am adding to our stockpile. All right, well, let me go through this here. I'm going to go shelf by shelf, just like I did upstairs, and I will show you everything I have in our basement storage down here. We'll start right here against this wall. Like I said, unfinished basement storage, but I do have our laundry detergent right over here. We normally use this Arm & Hammer liquid detergent, but a couple years ago, I bought this powdered detergent from Sam, just kind of as a backup. We haven't really touched much of it. I have only opened the top bin, and it's just really kind of been a backup to have powdered detergent that I know won't go bad. So I do keep that down here in the basement. Then if we turn around, this is where my food stockpile in the basement starts. It's really a little grocery store. Kids can easily come down and get what we need. Yes, these are old movie storage containers, and I have started repurposing them for food storage. I have some extra spices down here, these larger containers. I'm starting to buy more of them at Sam's. It's just a very economical price there, best price around I can find other than the bulk food store. And then at the bottom, I keep some peaches for school lunches. Now these boxes, if you have been around here, you know our family uses a lot of potatoes. And recently for Thanksgiving, they were on sale 99 cents for 5 pounds. So I bought a lot of potatoes. And these boxes are all full of potatoes. This is how I store them. I have a whole video on storing potatoes, and I talk more about that, tips and tricks, but it works for me. I just throw them in these boxes. They are covered up. They're easy for me to come down and grab. We eat potatoes very regularly. We eat them at least probably twice a week. My girls love baked potatoes. So storing them in a box this way, I have found, really will help them last for several months, so we have potatoes anytime we need them. Then this shelf is pretty much all applesauce. I do pack lunches for 3 of our 4 kids right now, and they take applesauce in their school lunch. Yes, I know I could store it in different containers myself, but for now, this is kind of our convenience splurge. I buy applesauce and they take it regularly. I try to get it when it is under $1 for 6. I have found recently that Sam's is the best price, and that's why these are all stacked loose. I've bought them at Sam's like that. All right, moving over to these wooden shelves. I know someone's going to ask, my father-in-law built these. We bought our house for my husband's parents, and he left the shelves when he moved in. They are great shelves. They are so sturdy, and I absolutely love them. So I cannot tell you where to get these unless you know someone handy who can make you shelves. This is apple juice. My kids go through about 1 bottle every week. We don't drink a ton of juice, but we do drink apple juice for breakfast. And so I know right here, 4 bottles last us a month. So again, I have right here 1, 2, 3 months going into 4.5 months of juice right there on those shelves. I try to always have at least 3 months of juice anytime I see a sale. I keep that. It's very shelf stable. Next up, we have some canola oil. I know people are going to comment, but yes, I do use some canola oil for making our popcorn right now and in a muffin recipe. I am starting to move away from that more, but I still have this jar that of course I'm going to use up and not let it go to waste. I do have 1 jar of olive oil that I refill upstairs. Need to restock on that. I have some cooking sprays. I have recently bought an actual sprayer that I'm refilling with olive oil and using in the kitchen. So again, I'm going to use up what I have and hopefully just keep doing that going forward. That's something I won't restock. We have a little bit of Rotel over here, some Hormel chili that I use for dips, and then some enchilada sauce. I'll just keep going over, I think, on this pair of shelves. We have refried beans over there, our jellies, our store-bought jellies right there, and then peanut butter. So this, again, shows you how deep the shelf is. I can go 3 back on the peanut butter, so that is 12 jars right there stacked, and then I have 3 more in the front. I use that regularly for baking. 2 of my kids eat peanut butter regularly, so actually I would like to have more peanut butter stocked up. I do prefer these smaller jars just because they're more manageable, and I've been able to find decent sales on those, so I will try to keep restocking that peanut butter. I always keep peanut butter on our shelves. Going up from here, we have our applesauce, and I buy Mott's unsweetened applesauce at Sam's. It's no sugar added, just applesauce here. Works out to, right now, I think the price is right about $2.30. You have to buy a 3-pack there, but that's the best price I have been able to find on unsweetened applesauce. Going over, we have our condiments. So I have ketchup there, and again, 3 jars going back. Ranch, Kraft Buttermilk Ranch. I've tried other varieties and generics. I'm a big fan of finding what's on sale, but this is a brand my kids like, my husband likes. They use it for dips and different things, so I've just found it's not worth the money. I've tried other brands. They say it's not the same. Syrup, yes, that is the cheap knockoff syrup. My kids like that with pancakes. At least my son does. The rest tend to do whipped cream on top recently. Seems to be their favorite. Vanilla, whenever I go back home to visit my parents in San Antonio, we like to pick up some pure vanilla from Mexico at the local mercado. And so it's $10 for that big jar. I think it might be 11 now, but it's a great deal, and I love to stay stocked on that. Worcestershire sauce and some barbecue sauce are other condiments. Going up now, again, we have cocoa. Again, I do a lot of baking. I have 3 of those smaller jars. Cocoa really does not expire, so it's a great thing to have in your stockpile. And again, in December, I just bought 2 of these from Sam's, the Hershey Cocoa. It is on instant special, and it now works out to a cheaper price than Aldi or Sam's when it's on instant special per ounce. And so I grabbed 2 more of those for baking to have there. I like to buy the 3-pound bags of pistachios from Sam's, and then I put them in canning jars and store them down here until we are ready to use those. 1 box of Velveeta for dips, and same thing with Lipton onion soup. Don't use it a ton. I actually was stirring it into hamburgers for a while, and that tasted really good to flavor it. Then I have our salsas going over. I have a little bit of canned, but our garden did well, and that is all homemade canned salsa that I made. It goes 3 back, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. We have already gone through several jars of it. I absolutely love this salsa. If you have never canned, it's a great, easy recipe, a great way to start canning. I'll leave a link to that. One of the first things I learned to can, and I'm always so thankful when we can have fresh salsa down here. I do have some sun-dried tomatoes from our garden. I didn't have enough to make salsa, and so our last tomatoes as they came in, I dehydrated them on our food dehydrator. I have a London Sunshine food dehydrator that I really like and have been enjoying using these last couple months, so I'm excited to have those there. Looks like 1 jar of salsa back there too. And then this is homemade blackberry jam that I canned this year. We were able to pick some blackberries from a friend here, and we are going through that very quickly, but I have, again, 12, 13 pints left there, or the jelly jar size right there. 1 jar of canned sweet cherries that is left. I had bought these fresh at the store. We don't grow them around here, but I canned them that way. And then some cowboy candy, 3 last jars of jalapenos. I did not make any this year. This is leftover from last year. The rest I pickled, and I have those in the fridge. I just did refrigerator pickles. Moving across, I have some tart cherry juice I have just recently started stocking up on for my husband. It seems to help some inflammation he's dealt with, so we are trying to keep that on our shelves. And the jars were just so pretty. I've decided to keep those. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they're just really pretty. So I've been cleaning those and keeping them as he finishes up. I have my last 4 jars of broth that I have canned. I did this the other year to figure out how to use my pressure cooker a little bit better, and I have discovered we do not go through broth very quickly. So I might can more broth, I might not. Jury's still out on that. Let me know, do you guys can broth or not? And then moving up, this is probably what I have gotten the most comments on when I have shared previous tours. These are my canning jars, just ones that I'm not using. If they are empty, I've flipped them over. I do have some tea bags down here. But my extra canning jars, I learned this, I believe, from the Provident Prepper. They are all filled with water. I did this because canning jars are going to take up the same amount of space, whether they are filled or empty, and I thought this was a great way to store some extra water. We are on a well, so if we lose power, we lose the ability to flush our toilets and all of those things. We do have a generator now, but I figure it's not a bad idea to have some extra water. I know some people have said that they have canned their water to make sure it's safe and drinkable. I did not concern myself with that. I just used regular water. I've dumped it out occasionally and refilled it with those jars because I figured this would be more to use for flushing toilets or things like that. And then on the very top here of these shelves, we have my canning rings, which I store there, a little bit of Lysol wipes, and then a box full of 9 by 13 pans. It is not full anymore. There's probably about 20 left back in there with lids. Speaking of those rings, somebody will probably ask, yes, if you are canning things, it is recommended that you do not store them with canning lids on. So you will see my jellies right there and all my salsas. I take the rings off. It lets you see if there is any leakage right there. And I just keep the rings. I keep a bunch down here, and I do keep some in the kitchen whenever I'm using it. All right, we're going to move around this corner a little bit. You can see some of the other food storage. I'm going to try to get around the corner here and show you the rest of what I have in the basement. All right, here we go. I'm working around our water heater. I have an extra light I just brought down to try to show you anything because like I said, it's an unfinished basement. Nothing fancy, but this right now is where it works for us to store things. These are muscle rack shelves. I will leave a link to these. We bought these years ago in our basement at our old house. We moved them with us. They have held up very, very well, and I have a lot of things stacked on them, so I've been very pleased. Now, every once in a while, this is plywood shelves. They will start slightly bending as they get heavier, but I've just flipped them over and I really have never had an issue with any of them breaking or warping too terribly bad. All right, we're going to start at the top here. We have some extra canning jars up there. I have some extra Ziploc bags in a bin. My husband's storage, an extra stereo system there, and speaker. Really should find a different space for that, but that's where it is right now. This bin is what I used when I was starting some emergency storage way back when I started. It has some lighters and matches and flashlights, just other basic things like that. We have spoons and plastic forks here for entertaining, some extra canning jars and the boxes. There's nothing in those top two. Oh, there might be something. Oh, just some jars there and some more jars and jars. They're all empty, but if you save the boxes, I wish I had learned this earlier on, they do stack a lot better. You are not supposed to stack canning jars on top of each other, but if they are in boxes, it works. Of course, most of my canning jars were given to me by both of my grandmothers when they stopped canning and my mom, so I didn't inherit boxes. But as I've bought boxes, I do try to hold on to them. All right, now we have a big bin here, and that is right now just where I am keeping our extra Ziploc bags and things like that. Whenever I find good deals, I love to have those on hand. Tomatoes. As you can see, I do not have a lot of tomato products. I definitely need to restock those to make our chilies as we are going forward into the winter. Canned tomato products are great to have on hand, so I'm watching for sales and will definitely be looking to restock. I do have quite a few black olives here because, again, we love them. We have some tomato sauce, a little bit more of diced tomatoes. Oh, I think I had some over on the other shelf too. And then 1 can of pumpkin. Like I said, I'm not going to restock that this year because I have it now all in our freezer. And then this bottom shelf is my pressure cooker. That was my grandma's. I have replaced the ceiling ring and the rack, but I do have a pressure cooker, and then my water bath canner. Salsa and the jams can be done in water bath. The cherries were done in water bath, jalapenos, but broth and anything like that does have to be done in a pressure cooker. Haven't used it a ton, but I love having it here and look forward to doing some more canning in the future. Big jug of vinegar that I refill upstairs with different things. And then paper plates here that we use for entertaining. Love buying the big stacks at Sam's. I have some more paper plates, some cups back there, and then a Lodge skillet, like a big, oh, what do you call it? It's one of those over the fire, the really big kettles that has a cover on it. So actually have never used it, but I am thankful to have it there right now for if and when I need it. Dutch oven, that's what it's called, a Dutch oven. I have it there. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go over here. I'm gonna move around our water heater, which is right beside me, flip to the other side and show you the rest. All right, these bottom two bins here, in this you can see it's all paper products. It is bowls, plastic cups, other plates, different size, just paper products that I use for entertaining. And then this bin is all cookie cutters and bins of different baking things, mostly cookie cutters that I have inherited that we have in there. All right, here's where you're gonna again see some gaps. I have a little bit more applesauce over here, peaches, juice boxes for the kids' lunch on Fridays. I let them take a juice box, so we have some of those. Kodiak mix, again, this is pancakes. It's a 1-to-1. You just add water, and they really are very good, but I'm the only one who eats those occasionally. We have some applesauce pouches. We only use those when we're traveling. My kids will all eat those, so whenever I find a good deal, I do just try to grab those and have them on hand. I have a little bit of honey, and yes, it has started to crystallize. I will use that. I could still use it. I know it's perfectly fine. We obviously do not use honey very much here since I originally bought that when I was starting my stockpile. So I am debating how much I should stockpile and if I will restock that once I use it up. I'm just really thinking that over. Let me know your thoughts on honey. If you store it, if you use it, what you can do with crystallized honey, what you like to do. Going up though, you will see this is my best stock shelf because we are coming off of Thanksgiving sales and I was just able to restock those things. So corn, we do not use corn as much as the green beans. So I have a lot more green beans. I focused on this year. The sales on Kroger were from last year. Walmart was 50 cents. And I believe as of this filming, they are still currently rolled back to 50 cents if you want to stock up there. And then Meijer also had them for 50 cents. So I really restocked on green beans here because we're getting to the point we almost need 2 cans when we are having green beans as a family of 6 as the kids get bigger. I just like to saute them with butter and onions and toss the green beans in. Super easy, quick side. That's how we serve our beans. Garbanzo beans, and that is a dozen cans. I do not use those as much as the black beans and the pinto beans. I have gone through everything I had there, but the garbanzo beans, I have not yet. The chickpeas. So I will not be restocking those right now, but I'm watching for a sale on black beans and pinto beans especially. I have a little bit of chicken soup, just one row right there of canned chicken soup. My husband's the only one who likes that whenever he's sick, so I just try to keep a little bit on hand. We are not a huge soup family, so I do not have a lot of canned soup stored. I do have 3 rows right here of cream of chicken soup, again, because that is what our family uses for poppy seed chicken. Yes, I can make it from scratch. Yes, I have done that before, and I might do more in the future, but right now, this is something our family uses, so I do stockpile it. Then going up a shelf, I have a little bit of canned meats. When I was starting to really build my stockpile, I did focus more on buying canned meats. I really do like this canned chicken from Sam's. It comes in a 6-pack, as you see back there, but I am really the only one who uses it. It's more for emergency to have some canned here. I've been working through it and using it as chicken salad at lunch and love it that way. So I haven't restocked yet, but I think I will try to add some more shelf-stable meat, especially the chicken. That's the only canned meat I have besides tuna. We do not use tuna as much, and I have not enjoyed it as much lately, so I don't know how much more tuna I will stock, but it is handy to have here for in a pinch to have shelf-stable meat. Let me know if you store shelf-stable meat, what kinds you store, and any recommendations you have for me. So far, the chicken's our favorite. This next bin is all hot chocolate. I buy it at Sam's Club in the 50-count box, and then that is a plastic animal cracker tub from Sam's that I cleaned out. I just like knowing they're in something plastic, so if we were to have any problems with mice or something, we have not, but I try to keep everything as safe down here as I can and binned up so it's not an issue. But that's hot chocolate. That's the only one I have right now. If I see another good deal, I do have another bin back there I could store it in. I have a little bit of dried milk, just mainly for baking purposes to have there because it's handy to have it, and I use it for bread when I'm baking bread. And then some different wines here. Yes, our cheap Aldi Winking Owl. This Oliver Blueberry Moscato is one of our favorites, one of my favorites, really. My husband doesn't drink wine, and I use that when we're entertaining. And then this Aldi Riesling is really good too. So I have a little bit of wine stirred there. And let me grab a chair and then show you the top. Okay, I am not tall. I am 5'1" on a good day. I have learned, I used to say 5'2", but I don't say that anymore. But my great-grandma always said, you're tall enough if your feet touch the ground, right? So there's our router. I have a little bit of long-term food storage. That is what all this is. This is stuff that lasts 30 plus years. I have bought these basically from Amazon when I have found them on sale for 50% off or more. So I think all of these cans were right around $10 or a little bit over to buy those. So I have some corn, potato shreds, and some pinto beans. If you are looking into long food storage, I will leave some links because Amazon does have some good deals, especially on this Augustin Farms, if you live in an area where you can't easily find it at your stores. So that is what these shelves look like right here. Now I do have a little bit more stored under our steps way back there. I'm going to pull it out into buckets and I'll show you in the light here a little bit. One of the things I have stored under our steps is this bottled water because a pack like this, 40 pack, is actually 5 gallons of water, and you are recommended to store 1 gallon per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. So our family needs at least 18 gallons of water stored, and I do have some stored this way. I have some large gallon jugs too, but I just like how it stores and stacks like this, and I can easily rotate it through with entertaining. Then I have buckets, and let me again pull those out in the light and show you. It's just too dark under those steps. All right, so I have Kilwin's buckets here with things like popcorn. We bought a 50-pound bag of popcorn, and I do have some of it in Mylar bags, but I'm not planning on keeping it for long term. So what I did with things like rice, I just bought 25 pounds. I just put them in large gallon Ziploc bags and stored them here, again, just to keep them safe like that. The other things I use my buckets for, I have 3 things that I store down here. It really is brown sugar, and these are not the screw-on lids because I'm into them regularly, but I have brown sugar stored in one. Yes, I know I can make my own brown sugar, and I do have molasses and have done it before, but this is just convenient, and at this point when I use it for baking, I like having brown sugar on hand. But then the big things I have are flour and sugar. Now you notice I put these labels on. These are painter's tape, and what I do is it just makes it me really easy to know how many bins I have. So right now I have, I think, 3 bins of flour and 3 bins of sugar. And so I know I am taking from the first one that says 1, that's my oldest, and then I go down to 2, 3, and that way it is helping me rotate and eat what I bought the last first. So I make sure nothing is going bad. In here, in one of these, this is a 5-gallon bucket, and you can easily store 20 pounds of flour like this, or if you have the 5-pound bags, I have found that you can put 25 pounds in here. I can put 3 at the bottom and then 2 sideways on the top. So I can store 20 to 25 pounds of flour in here. Sugar, with them being the 4-pound bags, you can fit a little bit more. Sometimes. That's a 10-pound bag at the bottom here from Sam's, and then I had 2 of the smaller bags. If I'm just using smaller bags, I think I can fit 6 in here. I just totaled up all my bins so I could see what I have. I actually have 60 pounds of flour downstairs as well as 30 pounds of flour upstairs right now. And I'm looking to add a little bit more to that because I will use around 5 pounds a week, I figure, if I'm really seriously baking bread and other things. And then sugar, I currently have 76 pounds, which that is more than plenty of sugar for the year. So I'm feeling great and well stocked on that. One other bin I do have is I have some of this long-term, again, food storage. All of this lasts for a long time. And here's another trick for you. All of this I have gotten absolutely free. I wear a Fitbit, and I have linked it to a Dick's Reward account, Dick's sporting goods store, and they sell all of these pouches for $9.99. Some of them have gone up to $10.99 recently, but still very reasonable. When I wear my Fitbit, every about 3 to 4 months, I get a $10 Dick's reward, and I just redeem it for one of these long-term food storage meals, and I just pack them away. These are foods that last for 30 years. You can see this one, 2053. That's kind of crazy. So I am not planning on touching this. I've just found it's one little way I can have a little bit of long-term food storage. I do not prep for the world to end. I have a whole video about why I stockpile as a Christian. I will leave that link below. I am really just trying to prepare our family for a 6-month, if I could get up to a year would be amazing, but I am not prepping for long-term. Really, I am prepping for things that we use, but it is nice to have some of this on hand. So I have 1 beef stew. I just laid this out to see what I had. 2 chicken dumplings, 1 beef stroganoff, 4 of the mac and cheese, and then the most popular one, 5 of the lasagna right there. I have a couple samples I have gotten from different companies that I just tossed in here again, long-term, beef stroganoff, an ice cream sandwich, and then some soup. So that is my long-term food storage right there. In addition to those tins, all of this for free. So if you have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, definitely sign up for a Dick's Rewards. My husband has one too, so that we can easily get those rewards and take advantage and add to our long-term food storage for free that way. All right, so that is all my food that I use in my pantry and down here, but I'm not finished. I promised to show you everything I have stockpiled, and stockpiling really isn't just food. Yes, you should stockpile the foods that you have and use on a regular basis, as well as maybe some long-term food storage, but you should also stockpile, I think, your toiletries and cleaning supplies. So let me go ahead and show you all those things too. Let's look under my bathroom sinks here. Yes, there's soap and hand towels, but I always keep extra toilet paper. And one of the things I do is I always store water under here. These are just old apple juice jars that I rinse out with soap and water, dish soap, and I clean them and fill them up with water. Again, this is meant really to flush toilets if and when we need that. We have had to use this several times in the past year for quick power outages when a line went down by our neighbors. So it's really handy. And in all of our bathrooms, I now keep at least 4 apple juice jars full of water for an emergency like that, as well as lots of toilet paper. I promised to show you everything, so everything is what I am showing you today. This is the shelves right by my washer and dryer right here, and it's where I keep our batteries. We have 2 bins of batteries right there, and some candles and just odds and ends. I don't even really know what's all in there. But in the back, I have paper towels. We go through about one of those 15 packs from Sam's about a year. I have white trash bags and then large black trash bags. I actually have 2 boxes of those there, of the black trash bags. Those last us a long time. We don't use them very often, but I like having them on hand in our stockpile, and they're not going to go bad, so it's easy to have them. A little bit more of laundry soap here, and then I have some Lysol wipes, and we're trying to get rid of fruit flies and had used that this summer. It did work. And then I have some emergency fire blankets. I got a good deal on these. Have you ever seen these? They are, you just would throw them over a stove or on anyone. So we have some in the kitchen, and again, I got a good deal and have a couple back here too. Again, always good to be prepared. And then if we move up from this shelf, we have our counter here with our mail basket, real life, lots of mail to sort through there. And then I have this shelf above. So this is our laundry room again, and this is where I store really all of our cleaning products. I am really trying to simplify this shelf and make sure that we really only store the things that we are using regularly. So it's a variety of things. I do have toilet bowl cleaner right there, 1 container of the Lysol disinfectant to mop my floors, lots of dish soap right there. Whenever I find a good deal, I try to keep that stocked there. And then this is just kind of assorted cleaning things, some Windex. I have some Castile soap back there, Castile soap, some flashlights and lanterns I keep right there, rubbing alcohol, some more Dawn dish soap, and I use that really for laundry, treating things, flashlights, a bin of different soaps. This is Fells Napa in that cup. I absolutely love that for stains. It works so well. Costs about $1 at Walmart or any of your stores. You can even find it on Amazon. And it gets out the toughest stains. I really, really love having it. A little bit of Pledge for dusting, although I do not dust as often as I should. All right, and then we have Snuggle dryer sheets. I mainly only use those in the winter. I do use wool dryer balls now, but in the winter when it gets really cold, I like to throw half a sheet in sometimes. Shout color catcher, sometimes I use that. Some borax and washing soda, OxyClean in the back. This is on sale at Sam's this month too. An amazing deal, and it really does. I don't use this very often. A box will last me a couple years, but it is so handy and really can get out a lot of tough stains when you need it. Just soak it in hot water, and I'm always amazed what it can get out. And then laundry detergent. So that is our shelf of cleaning supplies. And I have one more place to show you then. So let's go upstairs and look at toiletries. All right, and we're upstairs now. This is a hall closet that I have basically tried to convert into some storage and get it organized. It took me several years to figure this out, but this is how and what we store. Hopefully this will be helpful for you too, because stockpiling is not just food. It can be so many different things. And when you were talking about non-perishables, this is a great place to start stockpiling because things aren't going to go bad. So you really don't have to be concerned as concerned about rotating through it. So we'll just go through this whole shelf here and all the closets. I'll try to give you an overview of all the baskets and everything that is in them as well. At the top, I have a nebulizer and some Q-tips, wipes, tissues. I stock up when they are on sale around back to school time because yes, teachers are asking for them and we use them a lot. It's Metamucil and toilet paper. This is stacked 4 here. I have 4 packs in the front and then 4 in the back. That lasts us several months. I need to track that a little bit better, but this is the toilet paper we use, and I always keep some stocked as well as some under all the sinks. Beach towels right there on this next narrow shelf with some more beach towels and extra towels, a little bit of toilet paper. I do have most of our towels stored in the bathroom now, but those are extra towels right there. Let's stay with the linens here. Extra sheets for air mattresses and things. This bin is pillowcases right there. I really love these bins. Mattresses, we've got our hair cutting supplies. I cut the boys' hair and the girls, but I cut the boys a lot more regularly. Toiletries and cotton balls. This is a Lazy Susan. Our kids are all older now, so I don't have to stress about them getting into things like this, but I absolutely love this Lazy Susan. They do not sell it on Amazon anymore, but I will leave a link to a close one because it is so handy to have just the regular meds we need and Band-Aids, especially when the kids need Band-Aids or thermometers. It's just in the Lazy Susan. They can go get what they need, and I absolutely love it having that. We've got some Cool Mist humidifiers right there, the old baby monitors, which I've saved right there. Down on the floor is mattress pad and air mattresses. I'll do the bins here in a second. An extra Lazy Susan that I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. Some hand soaps I got for a gift, and then another mattress pad. All right, let's talk at all these bins. These bins I got at Target, and I absolutely love them because they are about as square as I could get. You see they slant just a little. I bought them at Target a couple years ago now. Again, I will leave a link to a similar basket. And what I did is I just tried to organize them with things we regularly use. So I'll show you what I have stored in all these. I like it because I can just throw things in and I don't have to worry too much about them falling every which way. This is vitamins right there. This box is medicine. It's just assorted things right in here that we use occasionally. Thankfully, we're pretty healthy, but I do like to have some medicine things on in hand. Sunscreen and bug spray in this one. So again, it's a combination of both right in there. And on the side, I had a little bit of extra room, so I just lined up some gel back there. And then same with the soap. I use Dove soap, and my husband likes Safeguard, so I have both of those stacked back there. We have soap, and this is really our hand soaps. I just bought some more at Bath & Body Works, or gels, just different things that I'm refilling and making our own foaming handmade soap. Super easy to do. Deodorant right here in this one. Now I left, when I just bought some most recently, I left it in the box so that my husband makes sure to use, that keeps tipping, keeps using the ones he has first. And again, it'll help us rotate through. Deodorant really is a great deal at Sam's, especially when it goes on instant special. I'd like to buy it there. Shampoo and conditioner in this bin here. And I've been getting back into the CVS game, so I have really restocked that recently. And it's nice to have that nice and full. And then if we're going down here, we have feminine products, pads, and all sorts of things. Again, some stacked in the back, and I can just toss them in there. Again, they're corralled. Don't have to worry about them falling all over. This says contact solution, but it's more all my personal things. So yes, contact solution in there, and some face wipes and razor blades and kind of all those cleaning things there, or things, not cleaning things, but you know, things I would use. And then we have toothpaste and toothbrushes. I have lots of toothbrushes, quite a few different toothpastes here. We have started using some lids on our toothpaste, some caps, and they are making our toothpaste last so much longer. I absolutely love them. Do I have, let's see if I can find the extra ones in here. I think there's some extra ones to show you what they look like. Yes, right here, I think this is it. So this seems odd. I found these on Amazon, but they really, really work. You put them on top of your toothpaste and it just squeezes out a little tiny bit. I gave one to each of our kids so they have their own tube of toothpaste, and I have not had to replace toothpaste since I bought these. Like, it lasts so much longer now. So I definitely, if you have little kids, again, I'll leave a link. These are amazing. You definitely want to buy them. I think that's my recommendation there. So toothpaste in that bin. And then again, you just put them back on the shelves. These are really deep. I like that they take up most of my space, and I'm not losing a bunch in there. I'm a big fan of organizing in baskets. Just makes corralling my stockpile a lot easier. First aid stuff. So this is mainly bandages and different things in there. I had bought an assortment at Sam's to kind of get us restocked, and we've had a lot of stuff in there. And then samples and travel toiletries. You know, remember the day when you used to be able to get all sorts of free samples all the time in the mail? Well, those are some of them, and from hotels as we've traveled. Kids can just use these, or we grab these when we're traveling, and it is really nice to have those. So this is my hall closet with all the toiletries and everything I stockpile up there. I hope that gave you some good ideas of things that you could use and stockpile. Again, just think of what your family uses regularly and start buying a couple extra next time you see them on sale. And we're back here where we started. I hope you enjoyed this real life look at what a working stockpile looks like for our family. I want to remind you, I built all of this slowly and over time and very intentionally, choosing to buy the products that our family uses on a regular basis. And yes, I'm still tweaking it. I am constantly tweaking it and adding to it and figuring out how much to buy. My stockpile is a little lower right now than where I would like it to be. So one of my goals for the new year is to actually build things up again and make sure that I have a stockpile full of the things my family needs and uses on a regular basis. I do have a free printable about how to build your stockpile on a budget with some checklists for doing it on only $5 a week. So if you want to grab those, the link is in the comments below. And I do have a whole playlist about stockpiling too. So if you want to learn more about how and why I stockpile, go ahead and check those out next. Thanks so much for joining me here. Let me know if you have any questions for me, and I'll be happy to answer them in the comments. And I'll see you in these next stockpiling videos.